Hi there, crafty friends, and welcome to Creating with Sketches February edition. This is where me and my friend Nicole, and also a few other very talented YouTube creators, are combining our efforts to give you some inspiration based off of the Creating with Sketches classes slash sketch bundle from Allison Davis. For this month rather, we are using the one-page sketch number 2. And I'm actually, if you have the sketch, I am using the option number 19, but I'm also kind of doing my own thing just because of the setup or the size of my photos. So in this sketch, it's basically where you have this center square and then a panel that goes from left to right in the middle of the page, and then you have the photos there. Now for me, I am going to instead of the kind of the 10-inch square in the middle, I'm making it bigger. I'm using some orange dot. I'm also adding another layer of kind of framing for this because I'm using a black cardstock to frame everything. So instead of just the pattern paper, I've decided to use a black cardstock just because it works well in my eyes. Like I just feel like it's better to have something that could ground all of the papers that is a cardstock. So that's what I'm going for. And then I still have 6 photos, but instead of it being somewhat of a square orientation, mine is just a rectangle because they're 3x4, and I do have 6 photos in this layout. And I am really, I don't know, I get really excited if I can fit a lot of pictures on a single page. I mostly do 2-page spread, especially if it's like an event or like a travel theme, or if I just have a lot of photos. But I do understand that I don't have a lot of, like, it just takes a lot of real estate in my album and then my album in my shelf. So if I can fit a memory on a single page, I try my best. And so if I can fit the 6, I am happy. The only kind of drawback to putting a lot of pictures, especially if they're like this size, is that you don't have a lot of room to really do much as far as embellishments and decorations. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like there's a time and a place. Like there are layouts that it's okay if it's simple. It's okay if it just has a bunch of layers of paper. And then there's also these layouts where you really want to do a lot of fun stuff. So anyways, going back to trying to follow the sketch, this is the part where I'm kind of mimicking the paper that goes around the photos on the sketch. But instead of putting the paper first, I put the photos first. That way I can kind of measure what part of that paper I want to show or will show when the photos are there. So I don't have to layer too much when I know that most of it are going to be covered up behind the photos anyways. And I also cut out this striped black and white paper to make kind of a border, a strip of border in between that dot paper and also my photos. And then I decided to ink up the edges of this big heart paper. These papers are really old. They're like a very old Dear Lizzie line, and I got them Tuesday morning, which of course we all know, if you're a crafter, you know that there's no more Tuesday mornings. But I really still like the paper, and this year I'm also trying to use up some of these older kits and collections and paper pads that I have so that I can make room for new paper pads. And then these photos are of just a fun dinner that my in-laws took us to, treated us to, and it was in Garden Grove. And my father-in-law said, "Oh, I found this really good Chinese place," and he was like, "I think your foodie wife would like it." And I just feel so loved when everybody knows that love language is food. Anyway, so we went, and it was like one of your, typical Chinese restaurant where everything is family size served. Is that how you say it? Family style served, or it's served family style? I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Anyways, where you order some dishes and then they all come, and then they give you some rice and some soup, and so there's lots of different dishes, and so we got to eat and try a lot of different things, and then we also got to take home lots of leftovers because there were six of us, and there were a lot of food at that table. So, but it was so fun to try out a new place, and also, of course, it was fun to be with my in-laws. So, going back to this layout, I am now adhering all of the papers that I had planned on using for this particular layout. And then I don't know if you can see, but on the left side of my table, I have this paper that looks like some kind of like Chinese lantern, or so just lantern, I guess. And that actually, I made that kind of by accident. So I was punching out some tabs, the circle tabs. I have one of those Marvi Uchida tab punches that's really big actually, but it makes these circle tabs. And as I was punching it from this paper, I was actually using the backside, which is kind of a dark gray paper. And then when I turned over the paper, I did not realize that in between punching those tabs, I was able to create this kind of shape. When you look at the lines of the paper, it made it look like it was one of those Chinese lanterns. And so I was like, oh, I need to save this for something. And so I did. I saved it, and I'm using it now. Now, these are one of those moments where it just kind of, I don't know, I just feel tickled pink that I'm able to find new different ways of using paper punches and all my different tools. I am not that kind of like, I don't want to say inventive or savvy, but you know how there's some people like, say, Jennifer McGuire or something like that, where they can get a tool and they can use it like 500 different ways. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. And I just don't have the eye for that. So when I find a tool that I have kept for many years and it still works, but then I can, instead of just using it for what it is intended use is, like the circle punch, now I can remember that I can also make some lanterns with it, as long as I'm using the right paper, like the striped one, and that I can make fat, big ones, and then or thin ones. So that was kind of fun. And because this was a Chinese restaurant that we went to, I felt like this would be the perfect type of embellishment for this. Now I've got to tell you that initially I had thought that, oh, maybe I can use some lines to make strings with it. But because my photos really occupy the center of my layout, I couldn't do that because then it'll cover up, or it will create some lines over my photos. So that was kind of a bummer. Like, I should have kind of thought about my design a little bit more. But nevertheless, I just decided that I will punch a hole and I will tie some strings to that, and that's what I did. I also sprayed some mist to it to kind of give it that little bit of shine. So you see that here, it's very, very subtle. You can't really see it much on the video, but you can see it in person, that there's this just slight shimmer to it. Now I decided to adhere the lanterns in three different places on my layout. Two of them will have two, and then this top one will be just right there just to create the visual triangle on my layout. Some of them will be adhered with foam adhesive, some with just adhesive just to make it flat, just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. Now this is going to be the last thing that I'm going to do, is even though it has some shine, it just wasn't doing it for me. So I grabbed some Nuvo drops. This is a green one. And then I'm just adding some more dots to that gray part of the stripe paper just to give it a little bit more texture and make it even more look even more like a lantern. So that is my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you check out the description box below because it will have the link of all of those people participating this month, as well as the link to where you can purchase the sketch/class bundle. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye now.